All right, so as we continue creating this project, just a correction from before. Barber of Seville is not Mozart, it's Rossini. Mozart wrote Marriage of Figaro, which is sort of a sequel to Barber of Seville, based on the same characters and what happens to them after. But Barber of Seville, Rossini. That's why it goes Figaro, 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 Figaro. It's like very Italian, right? So not Austrian like Mozart. All right, anyway, here is our shape, and here's my knife. You know, I cut out my shape, and I did it very gracefully. Here's my shape, and so I can just pop this out of the cardboard now like that. All right. And again, there are lots of different ways you can do this. So now what I need to have the graph secured onto the, cardboard, and it needs to be like perfectly lined up. And I need to secure it on there somehow. And I just went really pretty basic on this. I'm just taking a piece of tape. Because tape doesn't weigh very much relative to the cardboard. You really have to be careful about weight of everything. But just for kicks, I'm going to put two pieces of tape that are lying along the Y coordinate center of mass so that they'll balance each other out at least a little bit. Now, so that won't, it's still an inaccuracy, but that's the two pieces will balance each other out a little bit, but they don't weigh much is the main thing. All right, now here comes the proof of this deal. So I identified the center point. I'm just gonna poke my pen into it like that. Now, when I balance it on that point, it's gonna balance perfectly. Okay, so there it is, balanced perfectly on that point, all right? So you need to give me either a picture or a video. Video is better because then I can see that this is really, working. And just also let me show you something about accuracy of this. So that's not going to work at just any point. Let's say I just slip over here to the origin. All right, that looks kind of like the center. I'll put a point there, put a little hole there. It totally will not balance at that point. Not a chance is it going to stay on there. But when I use the correct point, the center of mass, it stays and balances easily, and I can show that. But with the video, you can see that I didn't, like glue it on there or something, right? It's really balancing, and again, if you're a little bit off, let's say I try to balance it right there, right? It looks pretty centery. I try to balance it right there using that fake point. Oh, it is staying. It's not supposed to. Let's really try that again. It kind of stays. I can see that it's lopsided and it wants to fall off. But it's hanging in there pretty well for that one. That's interesting, sort of which direction these arrows go. Because if I try to use this one, it just won't even stay at all. This point must be somehow like a little bit less inaccurate, even though it's farther away from the center. It's interesting. Here's another fake point. Oh, it likes to balance on that side. So like I can feel with that it's really, like it's not really balancing there. Maybe if I did this, I bet, here's an interesting thing. Let me try, hang on a second. If I can reverse this while I'm in mid-video. No? Okay, I'm gonna try doing this and I don't know what it's gonna look like. I'm gonna try balancing out the other end of the pen using the center of mass. That works. I have no idea if you can see that. And then if I try to use one of these fake points, not a chance. Not a chance. All right, I'll try doing that this way. I just made that up. So I'm using not the point of the pen, but the round end of the pen. It's a little bit flat, that's why I can get away with it. So when I do the exact center of mass, it balances perfectly on that round end of the pen. Right? But if I go slightly off the center of mass, like if I try to do that on this point, not a chance. All right, so I got to get away with putting it on the point on this side because it kind of like hangs it kind of gets caught on the point, but you can see that it's caught on the point and it's not really balanced. All right, anyway, so your job is to find some way to demonstrate that that shape balances in a way that everyone can see that it's balancing on that center point and not some other point. All right. Cha-ding! Now I've got a bunch of fake points on here, so I might want to mark that this is the real center of mass right there. All right, so your job is to create your own shape. And there are some rules about the shape, and I'll look at those later. You're going to calculate the center of mass like that. You're going to print out a graph like that. You're going to put it on cardboard or maybe some other material and cut it out. I'm like vaguely tempted to try and make one out of wood. I don't know if I'll pull that off or not. Anyway, that's your job. And your job is to produce a video or photo that shows that it balances.